Hello to all of our sexy listeners. Sometimes we're not perfect.
Oh,
Myself in particular.
This is going well.
We're going to start this episode with a drinking game. So every time I call the author of this book, Laura Asher, instead of Lauren Asher, take a drink. And please don't drive after this episode is over. No, seriously.
And just a little bit of grace. You're fine.
I apologize for the error, but hope you still have a lot of fun with the episode. Enjoy.
Buckle up, literature fans. We're in for some boozy bookgasms today. Join three cousins creating a titillating headspace where steamy romance novels collide with strong cocktails. So, sit back, sip slow, and enjoy the ride.
Welcome back to Boozy Bookgasms. I'm Jen.
I'm Lynn.
And I'm Kim.
Tonight, we are discussing The Fine Print by Laura Asher. But before we go on this magical theme park ride, what are we drinking tonight?
I have a super fun one. It is beautiful, and it is for all the princesses in all of us who end up with the villain and are really glad that we did.
No.
So this is called the Dreamland Sparkle. We're going to have some elderflower liquor, which is kind of hard to find, but I did find it at Spec.
Really?
So, yes.
Nice. Okay.
White peach juice and 2 dashes of edible glitter because it has to be pretty. You pick your color, but it has to be pretty. We're going to top it off with some Prosecco or sparkling wine, and it just looks so magical and pretty. It's amazing.
Yummy.
It's good.
It's beautiful and sparkly and delicious.
I love the
so.
peach. The peach
Edible
is just
glitter.
so refreshing, and
Who knew?
Mhm.
I have tons of it.
Yeah, we called that luster dust in the fairy episode.
Good stuff.
So this is book 1 in the Dreamland Billionaire series, which follows the 3 Kane brothers. And I love how a lot of these books, there's 3 brothers. Super handy dandy if you want to do a 3-book series. So we've got Rowan, Declan, and Cal. Each book revolves around one of the brothers seeing through the stipulation their grandfather gives in his will in order for them to get their inheritance. So the grandfather basically invented Dreamland, which is
Disney.
Disneyland.
Mhm. What? Oh my God. I never even put that together. This is
The
so
dream.
bizarre for me. So
And
weird.
all the production companies and streaming services, it's a multi-billion-dollar operation. This particular story is about Rowan, and it's a grumpy sunshine trope is what I would call this one. The second book is about Declan, which is a marriage of convenience. I'll absolutely be reading that. You guys know I love those. The third is about the middle brother Cal and his second chance romance, which looks pretty interesting too. They are all interconnected standalones. Like I said, I'm planning on reading them all. I had a really good time with this one.
I was really happy that they were interconnected standalones because you know how I feel about reading the first book and not reading the rest of them. My bookshelf is full and I did not have time to read 2 more books. So I am glad I can put this one on pause, but it was very fun.
But it is nice to be able to just sort of pick one out and be
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, maybe I'll read the other ones. So there's no cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Here. We open with our main male character, Rowan, at the funeral of his grandfather, and he's pretty much an unapproachable ass. He's the youngest of the 3 brothers and describes himself as tall as an NBA player with the emotional range of a rock. So he knows he's an ass.
Very descriptive.
But he's also like emotionally stunted. He's an ass, but it's almost like a handicap. Like he's really just struggles with how to engage with
It's a
normal
defense
humans.
mechanism.
Yeah.
So after the funeral, the boys all get a letter from their grandfather that they have to read before the lawyer will read the will. They each have been given a task to complete in order to receive their percentage of the company. Rowan's task is to become the director of Dreamland for 6 months, and he currently lives in Chicago but will need to move to Orlando. He has to find Dreamland's weaknesses and develop a renovation plan worthy of his grandfather's legacy. An independent party will vote on the changes, and if they are not approved, his percentage of the company will go to his dad, who's an asshole,
Who's also
and
an
they
asshole.
don't want that.
This is at least the second, if not the third book where there's a patriarch figure who forces the
of a very wealthy family. Yes.
to do something they don't want to do.
The elders are taking over
to get their money.
This has been done before.
And in this one, at least, it's like they do it because they want to keep it from their asshole dad. So there's a lot of drama in this family. But the letter that the granddad gives to Rowan, it's somewhat redeeming in that he's challenging him to find his creativity and he wants him to find his inner self and be happy again. But he uses this big stick of you're going to lose all your money and go to your dad that you hate.
He calls him the dreamer, which will come up a lot. I wanted to talk about the other two brothers' tropes because I thought this was really funny. So Declan's the oldest brother, and his task is to marry someone and impregnate them within a year.
Produce an heir. Yeah.
And we meet the secretary later in the story.
Definitely getting with the secretary.
Obviously.
Yes, he marries her. It's a marriage of convenience for his book. Yeah. And she is saucy, but in the book, he's making her date his potential wife.
Right.
And she has to be the first date.
Oh my God.
She is so spicy.
Yeah. Did you already read it?
No, I want to, though. It looks really
I bought them all. They're all stacked up. That sounds hilarious.
They talk about that in this book, too, where she makes a comment like, I've dated more women last week.
Yeah, she does make that comment. I was like, what is she talking about?
He's making her do the screening.
Oh, he did say she was screening it. I didn't take it like she was dating them. Oh my God. This is going to be
potential
so
wives.
good. That's awesome.
And we don't get a lot of information about the third brother's task, but if you read the book jacket for the third book, he has to live in a lake home with an ex-girlfriend who he did dirty 6 years ago.
Well, he's got issues too,
it's a second chance romance. Oh, they all do.
Yeah, they kind of dismiss him a lot too.
Yeah, he's looks got a drunk reputation. Half the time. And
their mom dies, their dad shuts down, he becomes an alcoholic, and then becomes this horrible parental figure for them. Mm-hmm. And so they all kind of lose their dreams. They lose their drive. They get into drugs. They just kind of break and they become
they become hard.
Yeah.
Thicker, harder, shelled.
Cal dives into drugs. Rowan and Declan dive into work, and they're workaholics, but they are all emotionally stunted because their mom died.
They don't trust anybody, and they've been abused in that sense too, where girls only date them to get the fortune.
Right, that is.
They try and scam them, and so they're a little bit
jaded for sure, cynical.
Jaded, that's the right word.
They're billionaires, and so they're targets.
Mm-hmm. Never have I ever dated a billionaire.
Well, I'm still looking. We've talked about this before.
There's still time. We could do it.
I'm not saying no.
Rowan shows up to Dreamland to take on the role of director of the park, and he sits in the back of the crew meeting to observe on day one.
Hilarious.
And in walks
I love this.
our FMC, Zara. And she is described as just breathtakingly beautiful with golden tan skin. And we find out later one of her parents is Armenian. So I'm thinking she's got kind of a Kardashian look about her.
Very much
like a Jasmine from Aladdin look.
On a skateboard.
Yeah.
With like chucks.
Like a Kardashian on a skateboard. Yeah.
Yeah. But the author also says she has thick thighs.
Yeah.
Did you guys catch that?
I did, but I never caught it really throughout the book.
Curves.
Well, yeah, curves.
Laura Elizabeth Asher, do not describe women as thick thighs. I'm sorry, but no, that is, I don't like it.
Maybe they're muscular from skateboarding.
But thick thighs, like not muscular thighs, say muscular. Like I just felt like.
Why do you say muscular like that? Why does she say it like that?
I did catch that, and I don't like it either. But basically, I was picturing like a more voluptuous, not fat, not skinny, like normal.
She's curvy. And
I mean, curvy.
She's late. She's 20 minutes late, and she has a skateboard, like Kim said. And so she sits next to Rowan.
After tripping over him. Stepping on his feet.
Right. Yeah. He's sitting on like the aisle, so she has to trip over him in the last row in the shadows.
And he's immediately attracted to her, thick thighs and all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's into it. But every time she brushes him with her arm, he gets an electric shock, which is kind of a romance novel thing. Mm-hmm. Like, ooh,
I've never felt this before.
No. And they start to bicker. The banter in this book is fantastic. Good. I have to say, like, it's a very cute and very witty, and she's funny and she's likable. asshole. She calls him an asshole right as the crew leader introduces him to the room. And he kind of raises an eyebrow like, oh, you didn't know you're fighting with the boss. You know?
Yeah.
And she just kind of laughs. It's just kind of like, is
she for real?
She doesn't appreciate that I'm the boss.
Right.
So Zara's the sunshine part of this grumpy sunshine trip, obviously. And I loved her. She's creative and she currently works at the Magic Wand Salon, but her true dream is to be on the creative team. We eventually learned that Rowan's grandfather was her mentor and she spent a lot of time with him. And together they created the idea of a world at the park called Nebula Land. Her now ex-boyfriend stole and presented this idea as his own after he cheated on her. He got a big bonus. And he used it to buy an engagement ring for the girl he was cheating on
which
her with.
happens to be the daughter of her boss. It's very incestual.
It is a little bit because all the people that work at this park, like the families,
they've been there for generations.
Kids work there generations. She's got a lot of trust issues because of the way this all went down. Ultimately, Rowan tells his creative team they need to work double time to come up with a renovation plan that would typically take years, but they got to do it in 6 months and it better be good or they can find other jobs. And he comes in guns blazing and he's a total
Well,
ass.
he hates Florida. It's gross and humid. He wants out of there as fast as possible.
Yeah, I'm here to do my job.
Well, he only has 6 months to turn things around. Well, to find the magic.
Well, that's the other part. He's got to get this done.
Well, he's on the clock. He has to present in 6 months.
So the creative directors are like, ooh, can we open the employee submission contest early to generate ideas? Because they're getting stressed out.
We don't have any.
He's like, yeah, sure, whatever. That never works, but sure, do what you want. Then he goes, get to work. Because he's just like the worst.
Well, and they're all scared of him.
Oh, everybody, because he's an asshole.
He's a tyrant.
And he's mean and he's scary.
Yeah.
Zara's back at her place. She lives in an apartment with a friend, and she's getting a little tipsy on some red wine.
As one does.
You know, hey, why not?
There it is.
The roommate talks her into submitting her ideas to this contest. This is her dream, is to be a creator. Right. Like, she's always wanted
But she got defeated when the boyfriend stole the idea. So the roommate's like, this is your shot. Like, take it.
Don't listen to Lance anymore. Build your confidence back up. He took her idea. He took her confidence. He took her trust. Now's her shot with red wine.
What bad decisions have been made on red wine?
Never.
None ever.
Now, white wine, some poor decisions have been made.
What was that? Red. What was that meme? It was like, have you ever been
assaulted by Sauvignon Blanc?
And I'm like, yes, I have.
But much like me, the more she drinks, the bolder she gets. And she writes a whole submission called The Real Nebula Land Ride That Would Make Brady Kane Proud. And Brady Kane's grandpa.
The mentor.
She called her ex-boyfriend's ride a big metal pile of shit that would make Brady Kane roll over in his grave. And I mean, she
took him to town.
Basically bashed it and then wrote this creative dream that really should have been what it was. She's writing it for therapy and doesn't plan to submit it, but in her drunkenness, she accidentally hits the send button.
Worst nightmare.
I mean, can you even believe it? And it shoots off to corporate.
It's so believable, though.
It's so rom-com.
It is so rom-com, but it's so believable.
I don't think any of us would go, okay, send. Oops.
When you're drunk?
Not even drunk.
I'm very coherent when I'm drinking. I make very good decisions.
I feel like some of my best work comes when I'm drinking.
Fair.
Samey. So Rowan calls her into his office and she thinks she's getting fired, but he read the proposal and he promotes her to the creative team. There's still a lot of sexual tension between these two, and their banter is glorious. I cannot stress enough, like, how hilarious they were. She's not afraid of him and says whatever she thinks. So now she has her dream job, and she gets to work. They have to present once a week their ideas to him in a big meeting, and she's very talented, but the problem is she can't draw.
So funny. She is a creative, but she's not an artist. And I love how excited she got that she had her own cubicle with Post-it notes.
It was so cute.
So cute. It was like her first job.
So at the first creative meeting, she has the best idea out of everybody, minus the drawing at the end. He He makes her stay after, and they do their usual kind of banter and bickering. And she tells him, you better have a massive dick to back up that attitude, or else people are going to be mighty disappointed.
So good.
She is very snappy for someone who was so insecure.
Well, yeah, and like she's talking to like an owner, and she's 23 years old, and he asks if she would like to bring out a ruler, and she says she left her magnifying glass.
I mean, it was just like boom, boom, boom. You almost felt like you were watching a match, and I was there for it. I loved it.
So the tension builds, and he kisses her. He just can't control himself. Next thing she knows, his mouth is on hers. He immediately regrets it.
He just thinks, "Oh shit,
It's
I've
an
opened
HR
myself
nightmare."
up to an HR nightmare." Right? Like he likes kissing her.
Why would an owner of the company regret kissing a 23-year-old hourly employee? I mean,
Me too. What? Me too, huh? Wasn't there a movement?
I don't know. Feels like
I felt like there was a movement.
But he's also, like Kim said, he's had a history of being a target for extortion from women, and he's afraid she's going to go to HR and sue for sexual harassment. And she actually probably would have had a case.
Yeah,
she probably would have had a case, but she's like, she didn't even think about doing that. But he's very cynical and very worried about this, of course, probably as he should have been.
Yeah, he's got trust issues, and who doesn't? Fair. But what we don't know about Rowan is he's also a creative, and his grandpa used to call him the dreamer, but his dad made him feel like a loser because he preferred drawing over sports. So he quit doing it a long time ago, but he's good at it. And he goes into Zara's cube after a creative meeting and takes a picture from her cube wall and says, I'm going to have someone make this better.
After he embarrasses her at the meeting when she does her presentation, I just envision like stick figures, like a kindergartner drawing at the last
It sounded
PowerPoint.
like it was that bad. So he redoes the drawing himself and brings it back to her, and it's amazing. She wants to know the name of the person that did it, and he lies and said it was a guy named Scott. Scott would rather stay anonymous. She asks, can I at least have his phone number? And he says, well, I'll ask Scott if that's okay. And then eventually he starts texting her from a Google number, pretending he's Scott. And so begins our text message banter between Scott and Zara, and it's cute and witty. Probably went on a little long.
It was a little long. It was a little long.
It was kind of cute, but also really creepy. I had a really hard time with this one. I got where he was coming from, but then, they'd strike up a friendship. You don't think you took that a little too far, dude?
She starts crushing on him and he starts flirting.
But I think it was more her.
I think he was crushing on her too in his alter ego state.
Yes, but I think she started it with little kind of sexual comments and stuff. And he he's like, wait, is she flirting with me? And then he would flirt back. And then it would be what did she offer? Dinners or pizza? And at one point
it was, she offered her streaming services for free.
Well, she offered all sorts of things that he said, no. And then she's like, well, here's my passcode to my streaming service. Best of luck.
Who does that?
That's pretty ballsy.
Well, but also,
very ballsy.
He owns the streaming
Which was
company.
so funny.
Well, she obviously
he created half the content. Yeah. And so, that part was really funny, too, because her favorite show was one he produced. I mean, this guy's a big deal in Disney.
She shares the streaming service as a thank you. And then he logs on to her streaming service so that he can see what she likes. And apparently, big Pride and Prejudice fan. I'm here for it, girl. I feel you.
Yeah.
Love it. Yep. I've seen them all. But he watches all 17 versions of Pride and Prejudice that she has bookmarked.
How many versions have you watched, Lindsay? Of Pride and Prejudice?
I've watched 3.
And your favorite is?
The 5-part miniseries BBC version.
I would say I've probably seen 4, and that's probably one of my favorites.
It's my favorite.
The BBC version.
Yeah, it's great. It's
really?
Good for a rainy Sunday, when you're home alone.
Yeah,
and I like the Hollywood version with Keira.
It's Gone with the Wind.
Keira Knightley, though. I like that. But yes, it is. It's kind of the same speed. Anyway, Pride and Prejudice. I was with her here, but he also was with her, watched them all so he could know her better.
He did. All the while, he's doing her drawings for her, and it's bringing out this creative side in Rowan that he thought was in the past. Meanwhile, he's also starting to soften that hardened heart.
Getting the feels.
He's getting some feels. He volunteers for Zara's buddy program for her Down syndrome sister.
Okay, but wait. Let's back that up.
kind of like breezed over his assholeness before that.
Yeah, she puts up a flyer with her number on the little tabs, and he takes it down
All
so
the
nobody
numbers.
goes to her fucking event, and he shows up.
Also, because he was jealous
Sure,
asshole
true.
because he was starting to fall
Right.
for her, and he was like, I don't want all these yahoos to have her number, so he stole all the numbers. She
Right.
gets excited,
Not knowing what the
not
buddy
knowing
program was.
anything about what she
actually.
was trying to do, and then he shows up himself to figure out what's going on. But he's the only one that shows up. Surprise, surprise, because he stole all the numbers. Jerk.
But he does end up developing a relationship with her sister that is adorable.
sister is
and
so
like
cute.
very sweet.
The buddy mentor program is for those with special needs to help them acclimate to jobs at the park.
Yeah, I loved the relationship he developed with
too.
the
Yeah,
sister because it
super
was
cute.
totally separate from her and it had nothing to do with
Mhm.
her. And so he's also realizing the park employees are underpaid and their insurance is crappy because of business decisions
He
he
made
made over the years.
Granddad was in a coma for like multiple years.
3 years.
So he
Yeah.
and his brothers were running the company during this whole time while the granddad was in the coma, right? So he's been making business decisions, good business decisions, not good people
Right.
decisions.
On
Yeah,
paper,
like,
this barely sounds like a notch above being a carny for a traveling circus.
It really
these people
does,
are
yeah.
making
nothing.
minimum wage. They're like, it's like they're living
Bad
conditions.
insurance.
It's just,
yeah.
It's
ugh.
multi-generational. They live in the park. They have like
Mhm.
housing for the staff, but they use
Yeah.
that to like keep cutting costs, right? Oh, we're giving them free housing, so we'll cut their health care. And
They actually do have housing and stuff at Disney for people.
yeah, no, this is like a Disney ripoff for sure.
Disney adjacent.
He made all these decisions from Chicago. He didn't know the people. He wasn't at the park.
No.
Like these were business decisions on paper, but he just never really cared enough to talk to humans about how it really impacted them.
I think he did it first, and the more toxicity between him and his dad ruined that creative side, that kid, that childlike
Yeah.
side of him. So
Yeah.
it kind of turned him against the park. I mean, that
Yeah.
park is like, it's in the past. It's my childhood. It's who I was. I'm not that person anymore. I'm a businessman. So
Well-
it's easy to put on paper. They don't need insurance.
His dad also told him he was weak and worthless. And so
Right.
he's constantly striving to prove him wrong and to be successful in business. And so when he increases the margins and shows this great earnings for the park, he's seen as a successful businessman.
Yeah.
Like the people didn't matter because it was all about him showing his dad that he was
It's the bottom
successful.
line.
Oh, for sure. Throughout the book, you're kind of seeing his thoughts, and it's the words his dad said to him. And
It's
listen,
sad. It's heartbreaking.
we all probably should be in therapy. It's like
Preach.
I constantly think about how much am I fucking up my kids because for the rest of your life, what happens to you in your first 18 years will live with you forever.
You'll
It's
remember,
crazy.
Sure.
Anyway, there was a really funny interaction with his secretary where he figures out she's working a second job and he wants her to tell him, like, why do you need a second job? And she's really uncomfortable telling him. And he's like, Martha, I thought we had a connection. And she goes, sir, our connection is weaker than the dial-up internet at the local library. But he ends up giving her a life-changing
huge
bonus.
Yeah.
bonus.
He does care once he knows the people. He cares. And
Mhm.
so,
He's kind of seeing the park and the people through her eyes and starting to kind of wake up to these are real humans on the backs of which you've made all your money. And
Right.
they're like,
exactly.
they're struggling. They can't afford
Yeah.
healthcare, medications, or surgeries, or Christmas presents, or
Life.
anything.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, Rowan and Zara, there's a lot of flirting and fun angst building and in the setting of Disneyland. It was really fun to read about. Rowan and Zara kiss again and he decides it's time to tell her he's Scott. This goes badly.
Yes, as you would expect.
She doesn't want to hear his apology and she shuts him out, giving us our Act 2 breakup.
Indeed.
I was really impressed with her willpower because if my hot billionaire boss was like begging me to forgive him and let him take me on a date, I'd have been like, I love you. It's great. But like she didn't. She was like, no, you wronged me and you lied to me. And she made him work his way back in. And ultimately he asked asks her to just come over and join me for dinner and hear me out. And he gets vulnerable and spills his guts about why he has trust issues and blah, blah. But most importantly, we finally get our first sex scene.
Which took forever.
It did take forever. I was not reading this on my Kindle, so I can't give you an exact percentage, but it was probably 60,
over 50% of the way in, for sure.
But it was hot.
It was
so
a
like
good sex scene.
we got what we came here for.
was
It
good.
ended up being really good. Rowan says Zara turns him into a fucking animal. And this might be my favorite line. He said, if this is what it's like to be around someone who's pure sunshine, he'll accept the burn every time.
So
That's your
cheesy.
favorite line.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I like it when he asks about the measuring tape again.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
That's
did.
funny.
She's like, I can feel you in my throat. I'm
That's
good.
right.
Yeah,
That's right.
like
Yeah.
I don't need to measure you.
The only part of this that was off-putting to me was that he gets her all horned up right before he puts on the condom. He's like, this is just casual, okay? And she's like, okay. Like, she has no choice. Like, she just wants to have sex at that point. And she's like, sure, whatever.
I thought that this was lame.
Come on, Rowan. Like, that's when you bring it up. Like, come on.
Well, when's a better time?
He does. I mean,
After?
I guess. Yeah, before.
Just saying.
He does like her, but he also knows he's going to leave in like 3 months, right? He's only there 6
Yeah.
months. He's already spent half his time there. He's leaving. He's going back to Chicago. So he is trying to be honest, I guess.
But he's not telling her I'm leaving.
He does chase her. So you'd kind of want him to be more honest, but then it's like they've only known each other a few months. Is he
There's no reason for him
to-
not to be honest.
He was throwing up his guardrails. And honestly,
Yeah.
Jen, like if he said it too early, there's no sex. If he says it after, he's a total asshole.
No.
If he says it right before, it's like, what are you going to do? You going to say no?
I'm just about to put the condom on. You're good with casual, right?
I mean, what are you going to go? Whoa, whoa, whoa. No,
Oh,
thank
I'm
you.
going to put my pants on and leave now. Thank you, though.
That's what I'm saying. It's not
Well,
a good
it's like
time.
he tried so hard
Good
to
time.
get her back for casual. Why try if all you want is casual?
He didn't like anything else in the castle.
In his heart, he wanted more. you know?
Maybe.
So we spend the next few chapters with him treating her like a princess and being the best boyfriend ever and leading her to believe this might just be more than casual.
Yeah. Rowan takes her to a fancy restaurant, like very Julia Roberts, Pretty Woman. She doesn't know how to use the forks type situation, fancy restaurant.
$200 glass of wine.
$200 glasses of wine.
That she guzzles.
He is whining and dining her. She does not know what to do with this, but this is part of his courtship for her, for his very casual relationship. Turns out, fucktard boyfriend is at a table, so she starts acting all twitchy. He's like, are you regretting this? Do you not want to be here? And she's like, no, my ex-boyfriend is over there. Boyfriend comes up to Rowan to introduce himself to totally suck up. Oh, hello, Mr.
Like, what kind of balls must
Kane.
you have?
Kane, Mr. Kane, I just want to introduce myself. And he's like, oh, I know who you are. I'm going to give you a promotion. And he's like, oh,
Yay.
that's so amazing. That's so great. And he's like, in Singapore.
Yay!
Or you will lose your job forever. So basically banishes him. To which, I mean,
Bye,
Singapore
bitch.
is supposed to be really nice, but like, whatever. You could take your new wife to Singapore or you can lose your fucking job. And she was very aflutter about this. She felt like, woohoo, like he likes me. He's banished my ex-boyfriend. This must be
Yeah.
more than casual.
Yeah, it would lead you to believe.
I thought it was one of my favorite parts in the book. Like,
Definitely casual.
banishes the ex-boyfriend? Like, that was amazing.
No, she's getting the feels. It's like he did
Yeah,
that for me. And then he does take her to New York on
a
his
private
private jet
Woo!
just for a random day. You know, we're cash.
Random.
She sees snow for the first time in her life, which
That was
she's super
so
excited. This was
cute.
so adorable.
This was cute.
He sets up a book signing with her favorite author.
This is my thing.
Yes, love it.
You ready?
Kimber.
Okay, did anybody else put the tie together that it might be Julia Quinn?
Yes,
that she's
definitely.
referring
yes,
to?
It's like Regency romance, and it's like something
It's
with
like
a
the
bumblebee.
Duke and-
Yes,
Yeah.
totally.
Oh.
You didn't put that together like
I did
Bridgerton?
not. Oh, God, I love Julia Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
Me too.
If she writes it, I read it, and I watch it on Netflix.
Lap it up.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then he takes her ice skating, and they have hot sex in his penthouse with a view, and it's like this
she's being wined and
dream.
dined. Yeah.
It's a dream. Like, how do you not feel like you're falling in love with that? It's
Mhm.
like you're on The Bachelor. She does make the mistake, though, of making snow angels in Central Park, which leads to a horrific case of pneumonia.
Well, he does say you're going to get sick because you've been in the cold for like 12 hours and you're rolling around in the water.
I don't feel like it was the snow angel that put her over the top. I think it was the entire day of being out in the freezing weather.
I will say that's not how you get sick. You get sick from viruses, but
and gross people walking around all over the place. And maybe it was because he kept tapping her nose. We don't know.
Well, laying on the ground in Central Park is probably part of your problem because that's
it's not
nasty.
safe.
Well, it definitely lowers your immune system.
No telling what you'll roll into. Needles.
I've watched a lot of SVU,
Yeah,
and there's
good.
dead bodies out there. Yeah.
There's people. There's people in the park.
Not in beautiful Central Park with the snow.
There's people in the park. You know there is.
I can't even
SVU.
breathe. So she gets back to Florida and it ain't good.
No,
she's sick. She's dehydrated. She ends up passing out in his bathroom and hitting her head on his counter. And he has to ride an ambulance with her to the hospital where she stays for several days. And although he sits vigil, he starts talking himself out of this relationship because
Well, he
it
knows
really
he's
freaks
about
him
to
out.
leave and he likes her a lot. So yeah, he's questioning his life choices.
He's getting attached and he doesn't like how the idea of losing her felt because he's got this history with his mom died of cancer and
flashbacks.
like it all kind of tied into that. He made him feel vulnerable.
He has this whole other life that he's like this alternate life with he's going to be the CFO and he's got to go back to Chicago and like
he's got the brother in his ear saying, "What are you doing?
Get your ass back here." So I think he's starting to get the feels for her. But getting torn, this felt very real to me. I can totally see someone battling with this. Like, I like this woman. I'm starting to enjoy working here. I'm getting my creative juices, my dreamer personality. But, like, I have this other life that I've built up over the last 10 years, and I don't want to lose that. This part felt realistic to me.
To me, it just felt like third act breakup. That's all I kept seeing was like, here we go.
It was a third act breakup, but his angst felt very realistic.
So while she's in her hospital bed, hooked to tubes, and barely able to speak without coughing up a lung, he tells her he's leaving at the end of the 6-month assignment. She didn't know that was happening.
His timing is
really
impeccable.
He dumps her.
He doesn't necessarily dump her.
She's like, get the fuck out.
She says, "Is there an us?" And he pauses. And she's like, okay, we're done.
Kicks him
Get the fuck out.
Get out.
Get out.
She's very spunky.
I love this girl.
Get out.
So Laura Asher makes us endure a second and a third act breakup. But what Laura Asher does right is
she
the
does.
groveling. This is what we don't always get in the books, and this is what I need. If you're going to give me a breakup, I need some good groveling. And I feel like we got some very good groveling in this book. Prove you want me back, even if you have to do it twice.
I want to see it. I want to know. I want to feel it. I want to feel your angst.
While she's holding down her ground, like, I'm not taking this guy back, she gets a letter from Rowan's grandpa. As you remember, like, that was her mentor and she had a relationship with him. And he tells her she's on the voting committee for Rowan's project to determine if he's accomplished the task that was given in the will.
She doesn't know that that's even a thing.
No, but now she's like, is this why he pursued me? Like, she's wondering if there were ulterior
motives. You know what would fix this? Communication.
Honesty.
Communication is key. And if they just would have had a conversation.
You know, Kim, that makes for a shorter book. And that's no, why would we do that? So Zara decides to put in her 2 weeks notice, and Rowan finds out in her last creator meeting and tells everyone to leave except her. And he's done this a couple times in these meetings.
A couple times, yeah.
It usually ends in a makeout, but this one doesn't so much. So they argue about why she's quitting, and she says she wants to work for a company that makes a difference in people's lives because they care, and this company doesn't. And she makes a big statement. She's like, I'm out of here. And Rowan takes it all in. And like the presentation she just gave is about how this park can be more inclusive and how we can do more for people with disabilities. And her sister has a disability and she's very empathetic to that. Rowan flies to Chicago for some soul searching and stops at his dad's house. The dad has been uncharacteristically sober for the last few times he's seen him. That's not the point.
Actually, this is going to play into other books, I think. He got a letter, too.
I think Dad's going to have a redemption arc in the other two books because he is trying.
Yeah.
And we don't know what his motives are. We don't know what was in his letter from Grandpa.
And we didn't know that he got a letter from Grandpa because at the beginning, only the three brothers were there with the lawyer.
Yeah.
Until end of book, we didn't even know if the dad got a letter.
And the brothers are worried because if they don't complete their task,
the dad gets it all.
The dad gets the shares according to their letters. They're like, he's out to get us. But that wasn't how it played out in this book. So I'm excited to see what happens with the dad. But he's lucid. Rowan knocks on the door. Dad answers. Rowan doesn't come in. He's like, I just got some questions for you. And he's like, do you think my mother would have been proud of you? And the dad hangs his head. And he's like, no. It was super sad.
Which was unexpected because the dad had been such a dick. You kind of assume he's going to be a dick.
But why do you think Rowan would go and ask that one question?
The dad admits, I've been a pathetic, angry man that wanted to drown everyone in my grief so they could hurt like me. Rowan needed to hear you're admitting that you were a selfish asshole. And Rowan says, do you regret falling in love with Mom? And he says, no, because the greatest rewards come from the biggest consequences and nothing that great is given for free. And Rowan says, that's all I need to hear. He turns on his heel and he leaves his dad. So Dad's like mouth agape, like, wait. Rowan's like, I came here to hear that.
He's basically just convinced himself to go after the girl.
Yep.
The love is worth it.
It's worth it, is what his dad said. So Rowan goes to tell his brothers, I'm sorry, I'm not coming back to Chicago. I'm staying in Orlando. They found a girl and she's worth it.
And I'm going to be the director.
I'm see through the things that I've promised I'm going to do with this place. The day of the big vote comes, and not only is Zara there, but so is the dad. He's on the voting committee, and so is the secretary, Martha.
Good old Martha.
Fabulous.
So great.
And some other stuffed shirts that we don't know. Rowan scraps the entire presentation on the park renovations, and he does an presentation on increasing employee wages and benefits, along with making the park more inclusive. He uses a lot of ideas from Zara on the inclusivity, like wheelchair ramps and costumes that accommodate disabilities. Zara, he was listening. Yes, like it was just, she's getting misty. Like
tearjerker.
Yes, you guys, you know, I cry at books. I cried at this book.
I did not cry at this book.
I totally cried at this book. So
there were no tears.
No tears.
No tears for
no tears.
But
no tears,
you know, if I have a couple cocktails, again, it gets the water.
A glass of wine. I'm like.
Of course, everyone votes yes for his presentation, and he gets his inheritance.
As one would expect. Martha asked some very probing questions because he practiced the presentation with Martha.
That's so awesome.
Not knowing she was a voter.
And then she shows up and she's like, wait, he hasn't gotten to the best part. So I have a probing question. And she like literally leads the witness.
So great.
She did.
It's so good.
He announces he's staying in Orlando to see through his promises as a director. It brings Zara to tears. But then we get to one of my favorite parts. Zara stays and she's waiting for the dad.
Yes. Love this. Love it.
And he walks out and she says, hey, although you are considered to be a good businessman, you've done it at the expense of being a terrible, verbally abusive father, and one day you are going to look back on your life and regret the way you treated your children. I hope it hurts you as much as you hurt them, so fuck you and fuck off. And she spins around, she blows Martha a kiss, and she flips off the dad.
Love that.
And walks
Perfect.
out the door.
It's perfect. I love it. I was here for that.
If you decide you're going to quit, you may as well ensure you aren't eligible for rehab.
That's right.
You know, like go out guns blazing.
Lock that shit down.
Done it already. So
ultimately, Zara and Rowan make up to the, to the surprise of nobody, and then they have great makeup sex.
They do,
yeah,
and say "I love you," and it's very amazing. And
he never accepted her resignation, so she still has a job.
No. Oh right, yes. He told
That's good,
the
because if
boss.
she had left, she was not eligible.
No.
But in the prologue, it's like 3 years later, and they're married, and they're cutting the ribbon to the Nebula Land, the
real
true
one.
vision of
Yeah.
Grandpa.
Oh.
Yes. This part was a little interesting to me. So she's wearing a pin that has a bun in an oven.
She had a pin on, and then the best friend came in. They distracted Rowan. Then she put the bun in the oven pin on. And then he was like, "What?"
But still, you're in a very public forum, and this is how you tell your husband you're having a baby.
I've heard worse.
Tell me worse, Kim.
I was here for it. They were doing the ribbon cutting. The brothers were there. The parents were there. They were all happy.
There's the hundreds of people there, and
People bring out pea sticks and put them on your dinner plate. I mean, I've seen some gross shit.
She's like,
I forgot about that.
I feel like a bun in the oven pin is fine. I don't know why you're so offended by this. Wow.
Yeah, like there's plenty of worse ways to do this. I thought the pin was cute.
I would have done it differently, but
everybody has their own journey. We talk about this every episode.
Exactly.
Own
We're all in our own
You
journey,
also cried. We did not cry.
We did not cry.
Well, and I'm not married to a billionaire, so I can't
Never
say
have
how
I
I would
ever
have done it if it was right. Then we get an extended epilogue from Rowan's point of view, and they have a daughter, and he reads her stories, and they've got a son on the way, and they live in a house on Dreamland. And they watch the fireworks on the porch every night. And
I'd be like, it's the same thing.
It is. It's
A
an
little Disney
HEA.
ending.
It's a Disney HEA.
Dreamland.
And it's really fucking adorable. I loved it. I don't know how, but I got the hardback version of this book, and it is really beautiful. There's some illustrations in the back of the pictures of Zara and Rowan, and they're really cute. I loved.
And this one came with the Spotify list, right?
Yes, Kim, thank you. Right on the front page, there was a barcode, and you just scanned it, and it Spotify list. But I tried my hardest.
Can't do it.
I cannot read to a Spotify list. I would like to listen to it now and think about the book and be like, oh, this is great. As I'm reading, it's so
I wait
distracting.
until the end, and then I go back and I listen to the music, and I'm like, oh, this would be perfect at this part. They're always really cool songs, and sometimes I don't know the songs that are on there, so it's kind of a cool learning.
They're often great song lists, but I can't read and listen to it.
I can't either.
It's an accompaniment to the book.
Taylor Swift's Tortured Poets department, it's so musical. That's on in the background, like it doesn't
You're
distract
not really,
me. But
yeah. Like white noise.
Yeah.
No. I'm like Jenny running a
No.
podcast. I need silence.
I can't listen to music or watch TV or anything. Like if I'm reading a book
Can't
and my
either.
husband comes in and
No
turns the
chewing.
TV on, I get up because I'm
Or
like,
breathing.
I can't read this book and watch while you're watching TV. I'll get distracted. I can't do it.
I'll start with the stars. I gave this 4, like a solid 4. It was so cute. I loved it. It's been done before. It's a little predictable, but I loved it. It had a landscape. The writing was so good. So I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I would give it a 4 too. It was a little sickly sweet for me at times, but to your point, the landscape, you could picture it. It helps that you could we've all been to Disney, but there were some realistic parts. There were some unrealistic parts and parts I didn't love. So I wouldn't say a solid 4.
What part didn't you love? Tell me.
It was just almost too sweet, too predictable. I didn't
Too
the
sweet.
fact that he pretended to be Scott for so long. A bit Cinderella-y, but I liked it. I mean, I give it a 4. Like, it was good. It was like a 3.7.
I will say when I tried to give Beneath the Mask a 3.25, I wasn't
You were not
allowed
allowed.
to do that.
Well, I gave it a
So-
4. I rounded up.
We'll give it a 4.
I forgot you gave it a 3.25. That was a good book.
I tried because I did.
We
like
said no.
This
We vetoed that.
Kim was like,
Well, I rounded
You
up.
did
I
that.
said a 4.
You did say a 4.
Just not a solid
Yeah.
4. It was just a rounded up 4.
She gave it a tipsy 4.
A tipsy
4.
Kimber, what do you say?
I actually gave it a 4 for the banter alone because I
banter
love
was
a good banter. I'm
Yeah, it
down
was
for that.
good.
There, like Lynn, it was super predictable for me, but I don't mind that in some
Mhm.
places if they're bantering. I had to listen to it and read it, given my time crunch. I laughed out loud several times. I did not cry.
How was the audiobook?
It wasn't bad. I don't like it when it's the female part and then they try and do the male part. I would rather it just traded off.
It wasn't duet style.
But there was 2 voice actors, but they just traded off based on the chapter.
Oh, yeah, they trade chapters.
Yeah. So And I loved that. I loved the diversity of it. I almost felt like we were meeting a new princess coming into the Disney-esque land for Zara. So the inclusivity was cool. Give it a solid 4. I liked it.
All right.
I'm going to read the other
All
2.
right.
They're on my stack.
I'm totally reading the other 2, especially the next one because it's a marriage of convenience, which is
That's
like
your
my favorite
jam.
trope.
Yeah, you love that.
This writer writes to a formula. I think that's what keeps it from being more than a 4 because it's like, oh, okay, we got the second act breakup, we got the third act break. You know, you're tick. We're writing to a formula, but it's a formula I like to.
It works.
I don't mind
works.
it. I don't
There's
mind
a
it.
reason why it's a successful formula.
I don't
right?
think we need to extend the epilogue. I hate it when they do that. I just want one epilogue.
You don't like an epilogue.
I really
You're not
don't.
an epilogue person.
Just finish that
You
shit.
always say
Shut it
we didn't
down.
need that. You
Don't
always
need
say
it.
that.
Or just
Like-
put it in the chapter. It's over.
Or just make it like a 37th chapter. Like, why do we?
It's
need
like
an
hanging
epilogue?
out in the movie theater after a Marvel movie. You're going to wait 20 minutes to see a clip
For
of something
something
else. I'm just
might come on the
don't
screen.
need it. Move
Yeah.
on.
I have sons. We have to wait. We got to wait.
I
till
would
the
have
end,
waited
you
anyway,
know?
but yes, we do have some.
You don't want to, and you're mad that you did,
But
you're gonna
but
do
what if
it.
you don't see something?
Correct.
Exactly.
The FOMO on the film.
So spice, I actually said 3.5 because I did feel like the spice was
I would like whole
good
numbers.
when we got it, but we didn't get it till late, and we didn't get a ton of it, but it was really well written.
Okay.
I wish it had started a little sooner, though.
Like chapter 2.
I mean, or 10
Thanks.
at least. Like, yeah, like
Something.
I myself was also a 3.5 for the same reason. The sex that we got was good. It was late. There wasn't enough of it. But it played into the story very well. But there just wasn't enough of it.
Mhm.
I'm going to go with a whole number like normal people. And I'm going to give it a
Halves
3.
are fine. Halves are
You do
fine.
halves.
I'm
Don't
gonna
even.
give it a 3. Same
So you're rounding
reason.
down.
I'm rounding down for this one because I feel like we only slept together 3 times in the book. There
Yeah,
was
it
only
was not a
3
lot of
sex
sex.
scenes. They were
There was
good
some
sex scenes,
sex.
but it's like I think
Oh,
they're
the one in New York City where
That's
they were
pretty
in the
good.
penthouse,
Yeah.
like looking at the skyline.
I don't know. I still
was
liked.
hot
I liked the one,
AF.
the first time in the house. I really
okay.
liked.
So back to my rating. I gave it a 3 because they only had sex 3 times. It was good sex. It wasn't enough. I think there's like 48 chapters, and to
Mhm.
only have 3 chapters with sex in it just felt a little light. I
For
mean,
trashy romance.
I'm
it was
particular.
light.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm particular.
Mhm.
There has to be a ratio there for me
Mhm.
on the
Mhm.
chapters. I don't know what it is yet, but it's not 3 to 48. I don't
I
like
get a
that.
book for you. I have a book for you.
What do you got,
Interesting.
Lindsay?
Yeah,
Come
some
on.
novellas that are
Put
like
up.
chapter
Oh,
one. So the
novella.
chapter
Wait,
the
just
chapter
so
to
I'm not
sex ratio
confused,
very
Jenny,
high.
could you define
What's
novella
what's
for me?
a
Don't
novella?
even. Lindsay, you got to spill the beans on these juicy
Yeah.
novellas. but-
I will send you. They're straight to the sex and very short, and your chapter to sex ratio will be satisfied.
Okay, feel good about it. I'm going to come up with the right ratio. I just haven't quite balanced
Haven't
it out
quite
yet.
Yeah.
matched it yet.
It is hard to do.
It is.
That's what gets you the 5-star rating.
Right.
you know,
I want
is
the
you figure that
equality.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think too, sometimes this is always subjective and it depends on the mood I'm in when I read the book, the mood I'm in when we tape this
That's fair.
podcast.
That's
Like,
fair.
how much I liked it then versus today, like thinking back. Like, so all of our viewers should know that this, I think, overall good book recommended.
Oh, it's a great
but,
book. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. But,
Such a
but
good
light,
book.
light
It
sex,
was cute.
very Disney princess.
It's just
great.
like, does it resonate with you? Does it
Right.
sit with you when you walk away from it? And I think
It
that
wasn't
really,
my favorite, but it hit all the right marks.
Yeah, it was a cute.
I liked
it
it,
was
but
cute.
I tend
It was
to like
cute.
this
Yeah.
kind of novel better
Mhm.
than
Yeah, this
that's
checked a lot of
the thing.
boxes for you.
Bing, bing, bing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for recapping and reviewing it with us. If you haven't already, please find us on all our socials. So TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, and go to boozybookgasms.com and send us your book recommendations. We are still looking for a guest host for our final podcast of the season. We love doing that. So you can also send a email to jen@boozybookgasms.com and let us know what you think of the show and if you have any book recommendations. And until we meet again, happy reading.
Happy reading.
Happy reading.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope today's episode was the climax of your day, leaving you breathless and wanting more. Until next time, remember to indulge in the pleasures of life and to keep the passion alive. You can find more tantalizing episodes at boozybookgasms.com. Enjoy the ride, and we'll see you soon.